Crazy Big Sis. This movie starts with Ada, who comes into the house of her junior brother and finds the whole place unarranged and dirty. She complains that her younger brother refuses to marry and that's why his house is as scattered. After complaining, she begins to help him tidy the place. Ikenna returns from work, surprised to find the place very tidy. He wonders if a ghost had entered his house to tidy the place and even cook for him. As he wonders, his big sister comes from the kitchen to welcome him. Ikenna is surprised to see his big sister. As he wonders how she got into the house, they get talking as Ikenna is excited to hear that food is ready. Now, we see Ikenna discussing with Ada the issue of getting a wife. She has been on his neck and won't let the poor guy breathe, and she keeps persuading him to get a woman. Ikenna tells her he needs enough time and space to find the right person. Ikenna is preparing for work early one morning when he sees Bolaji, the woman he has been dating for a while. He decides to settle with her. He kisses her as he heads out for work. At work, we see Ikenna discussing with his best friend, Jonathan. Ikenna tells him about Bolaji, his fiancée. We also see Bolaji with Ifeoma, Jonathan's wife. They discuss Ikenna and his family. Bolaji tells Ifeoma of how tense she is to meet Ikenna's sister. All of a sudden, Ifeoma's mood changes and she starts narrating her usual story. As she does that, Bolaji lip-syncs in unison, telling how much she has heard those same lines that she knows so well. That night, Ikenna gets on a call with his big sister while in the room with Bolaji. He has plans to introduce his fiancée to his dear big sister. While he describes Bolaji to his big sister, Bolaji sits there smiling sheepishly. The two are a happy couple. The next morning, Ikenna and Bolaji get their things ready to go visit Sister Ada. Before leaving, he gives the security man, Linus, strict instructions. They arrive at Ada's place. Ada is excited to see Ikenna. They greet and exchange pleasantries. Ikenna reveals to his sister who Bolaji is to him, but instead of being happy, Ada scorns Bolaji. They all sit for a proper and more formal introduction. Ikenna once again introduces Bolaji to Ada, but after listing all her credentials, Sister Ada still disapproves of Bolaji, claiming she is too old, even older than Ikenna. Ada keeps discrediting Bolaji for many reasons, not minding how much Ikenna tries to stop her. We see Ikenna and Bolaji discussing in private. Bolaji feels so disappointed. She feels broken that Ikenna's sister doesn't approve of her, even though Ikenna is trying to comfort her. The next day, Bolaji gets up to clean the house when Sister Ada interrupts her. Ada asks Bolaji about her age, but Ada refuses to believe her. She keeps mocking and body shaming her and making her feel bad. Ikenna comes out to witness what Ada is doing to Bolaji, making him unhappy with the way his sister keeps speaking ill of Bolaji. Ikenna leaves the room with Bolaji and comes out after a while with their luggage. They can't stay anymore. As they're about to leave, Ada requests to pray for Ikenna, but turns it into yet another session of mockery. Jonathan visits Ikenna and Ikenna tells him of how their visit to his big sister turned sour. Ikenna isn't in any way happy as he narrates everything to his best friend, from how much Ada scorns Bolaji to the way she dislikes her. Jonathan encourages him. He says in the end, the decision is his to make. Jonathan gets home and during bedtime, they discuss Ikenna and Bolaji's issue. Jonathan and Ifeoma seem to be a pretty satisfied couple, as it seems they have everything they desire. Ifeoma thanks God her case isn't like Ada's own. At least, she's got an amazing mother and sister-in-law. After that day, we see Bolaji and Ifeoma discussing what happened when they went to see Ada. Bolaji narrates how everything went at Ada's place, and man, Ifeoma is pissed, even though it's not a family problem. Next, we see Ikenna on the call, talking with Ada. On the call, Ada tells Ikenna that she has a surprise for him. Curious to know what the surprise is? Stay calm. We'll find out. So in the next scene, we see Linus, the security man, minding his business when he hears a noisy knock at the gate. As he opens the gate, he sees Sister Ada with an unlearned girl, Nwakego. Ada tries to bully Linus to carry Nwakego's bags. But then, how can a whole GM be carrying a maid's bag? Sister Ada and Nwakego enter the house. While in the house, this village girl keeps staring at everything, revealing that she is local. Anyway, that is not Sister Ada's problem. She is more concerned about getting a wife for her junior brother. Bolaji returns from work later, and Linus tells her of the new girl in the house. Of course, he thinks Ada brought a maid for Bolaji. Bolaji walks into the house, goes into her room, and is out again talking on the phone with Ikenna. She has seen the new girl in her room, and even wearing her clothes. While she's still on the call, Ada comes from behind and starts another session of cursing and scorning as Bolaji greets her. Ada even accuses her of stalking her junior brother. Can you imagine? Ikenna comes home to his surprise. Nwakego and Sister Ada are in the parlor. Ada introduces Nwakego as the wife she has decided to give him since he is not ready to find a woman she approves of. Ikenna is not happy with this idea at all, telling them that Bolaji is the one he has decided he wants to marry. He gets up and leaves the parlor. That night, at bedtime, Ikenna tries to encourage Bolaji, who is already discouraged. She feels insecure about Ikenna's sister, and even the girl she brought, coupled with her too much wahala. Another night, we see Ikenna and Bolaji having a good time, when suddenly, Nwakego rushes out of the bedroom screaming. This village girl is not used to showering, and she is frightened because the water became hot while she was bathing. Ikenna laughs at her and even calls her a local fowl. Meanwhile, Ada stares at the village girl in disappointment. After that incident, Ada enlightens Nwakego on how to use the sophisticated kitchen appliances, just so she doesn't disappoint again. She has to be able to win Ikenna's love. This girl is amazed as Ada teaches her how to use the appliances. Jonathan seems to be a fallback friend, and Ikenna will always give full details of all that's happening in his marital journey. We see the two talking once again, and of course, you can guess what the topic of their discussion is. After Ikenna tells Jonathan about all the drama, Jonathan advises him not to leave Bolaji as she's a good girl. But this Nwakego self, she will always show herself how unlearned she is. She's always tying wrapper and barely wears clothes. On this occasion, she ties her wrapper again and entertains Bolaji in the parlor with a dance. Suddenly, Sister Ada comes into the parlor and sees her Saini misbehaving. She drags her outside and begins to caution her. Why are you dancing and entertaining your enemy? She says. After all the caution, Ada orders Nwakego to go in and wear proper clothes instead of the wrapper she's always tying around. Ada calls for a meeting with Ikenna. She tells him why he needs to marry Nwakego. She's a virgin, Ada says, but it happens that Ikenna's mind is already made up. He has a woman he wants to marry and has been dating her for 2 years already. Aside that, Ikenna claims that Nwakego is not even his class. Ada tries convincing him, even to the point of shedding fake tears. Ikenna walks out on her. Nonetheless, he goes to the room to get some sleep, but finds Bolaji up and sad. She's aware she's the bone of contention in the house, but Ikenna is not even ready for any conversation. He covers himself and sleeps quietly. Later that night, we see Nwakego, our alleged virgin, sneaking into Linus' room to do what lovers do. Hey. The next morning, Nwakego is in the parlor watching TV and having a moment when Sister Ada comes in to caution her again. Ada gives Nwakego strong instructions to be disrespectful to Bolaji so that she can overthrow her out of the house. Well, here we go. Bolaji is in the kitchen with her best friend Ifeoma when Nwakego walks into them like a sheep that has lost its way. Wanting to fetch soup from a pot of soup she did not prepare. Just as she's about to fetch the soup, Ifeoma stops her immediately. She tries talking back at Ifeoma, but she receives another shot of scolding. Nwakego rushes out of the kitchen to report to Sister Ada. After reporting, Ikenna gives her another rain of insults, even calling her a village outcast. She squeezes her face and goes in afterwards. She returns later that night, but this time, she tries sleeping on Ikenna's bed even though Bolaji is there. Ikenna pushes her away. She tries forcing herself into the bed. This time, Ikenna gives her a dirty slap and chases her out of the room. Ada comes out and sees her crying there. Ada then pretends to knock on Ikenna's door so he can open the door for Nwakego to go in. She keeps raising her voice while the couple keep mute. Another day, we see Bolaji, who has an appointment at work, trying to meet up with her time. She finishes what she's doing in the kitchen and goes into the bathroom to take a bath, only for her to come out and discover that her uniform, which she left on the bed, has been stained with oil. She screams on discovering this, while Ada and Nwakego listen from outside and are happy of the mischievous stunt they just pulled. Bolaji picks up her phone and calls Ikenna. Ikenna gets back from work and confronts Ada, telling her of how tired he is of all her shenanigans in the house. Ada tries to blackmail him emotionally, but then Ikenna keeps spilling, telling her how troublesome she has been. Ikenna leaves angrily, and Ada faces Bolaji, telling her to leave her brother alone. That night, Bolaji apologizes to Ikenna over what happened between him and his sister. Ikenna then begins to tell her his story and how his sister Ada is just watching his back because of how much she suffered to raise him. Just after that scene, we see Bolaji and Ikenna in the parlor, when suddenly Nwakego rushes into the parlor, raising an alarm that Sister Ada is dying. Immediately, they all rush into Sister Ada's room and find her lying on the bed, all covered. It appears she has taken an overdose of drugs just to kill herself, since Ikenna won't listen to her. Bolaji offers to help, but then, after helping, she packs her things and leaves, just to avoid any further problems. Nwakego returns to the room, announcing to Ada that Bolaji has left, and they are both happy that their plan is going just fine. After the incident, Ikenna sits with Sister Ada, recalling all that she has done for him since their parents, and also thanks her as well. He further goes on to tell Ada that if marrying Nwakego is what is going to make her happy, then so be it. Ada is pleased with the sound of this, as it has always been what she wanted. He ends up by telling Ada to make the necessary arrangements so that they can proceed with the marriage rites. Sister Ada, who is already at the peak of achieving her goals, goes out only to see Nwakego coming out of Linus's room. Ada asks her, but she lies that she went to give Linus food. Is it food she went to give Linus? Anyways, that's not our concern. So it happens that Bolaji has gone missing since she left the house. We see Ikenna telling his friend that he has not been able to reach Bolaji since she left the house. He wants to know if Jonathan's wife has any information concerning Bolaji's whereabouts since they are best friends. Jonathan replies, saying that even his wife has not heard from Bolaji for a couple of days. We now see Ikenna and Ada about leaving for the village with Nwakego so that they can proceed with the marriage rites. Still putting their things in the car, Nwakego rushes out of the car and starts vomiting. Waiting they do this one. Anyway, they opt to rush her to the hospital before heading to the village. After running a test at the hospital and discovering that Nwakego is pregnant, they return to the house. Ikenna asks her, who is responsible for the pregnancy? Pretty sure you know who it is by now. It's Oga Linus. Ada is shocked to hear this. She is so disappointed that she pounces on Linus. Ikenna stands there, watching all the drama. When they finish, Ikenna tells Linus congrats on getting a new wife. He also offers to give him his 2 months salary so that he can take very good care of his new wife. Since everything has turned sour with Nwakego, Ada is now sorry for all she did to Bolaji and hopes she will come back. Just as they are talking, they hear a knock at the door and Ikenna gets up to check who it is. Well, speak of the devil, it's Bolaji and her best friend, Ifoma. Immediately Ada sees her, she falls on her knees to apologize, but Bolaji stops her immediately. Ikenna also tries to apologize, but Bolaji tells him there's no need, and she isn't upset about his action. Bolaji announces that she is pregnant. Ikenna and Ada burst out in excitement as they hear this wonderful news. Ada starts dancing and singing with joy. Finally, the rejected stone has now become the chief cornerstone.